Before I became a professional dog trainer, I trained a dog from scratch with no experience. No books, no courses, no fancy training methods. Just me, a dog, and a journey of figuring things out. And the crazy part, it worked. The dog became solid in obedience, well behaved, and actually enjoyable to live with before I even knew what I was doing. So, how did that happen? And more importantly, how can you do the same, even if you've never trained a dog before? Well, there's something that makes the difference between success and frustration when training a dog, and in this video I will show you exactly what it is. My obsession with dog training started about 4 years ago, after I got hooked on police dog videos on YouTube. Watching those dogs take down suspects gave me goosebumps like nothing else. It was pure adrenaline every time I saw one of those takedowns. And at some point I just said to myself, I wanna do that too. There was only one small problem though, my dog wasn't exactly cut out for it. I had a low-drive showline Labrador named Mira. Not a Malinois, not a working line German Shepherd, just a chill lab. But I didn't care. I started playing with her anyway, pretending we were in some kind of canine training. I would roll a towel around my arm, take off running and let her chase me down. She would bite terribly, the worst grip ever, but I was having fun and so was she. Around that time I also started messing around with obedience. No real knowledge, no formal training, just trying things out. But this wasn't a fast process. I remember it took me weeks just to teach her the down command, and when I was working on the stay command some session lasted 15 to 20 minutes because I would refuse to stop until we got one good repetition. It was frustrating, but somehow it worked. She started listening, responding, and actually understanding what I wanted. Looking back, I realized I wasn't just teaching her commands, I was figuring out how to communicate with her. And that's what made the difference. It wasn't about knowing the right techniques or following a strict method. It was about the way I approached training, the way I adapted, and the way I handled every session. Without even knowing it, I was already developing the mindset and techniques that actually make training successful. And that's exactly what I want to break down now. So when it comes to the techniques I was unconsciously applying, it's hard to pinpoint a single one that made the difference, because in dog training no single technique is the key. Success always comes from a combination of elements working together. But if there's one thing I can say with certainty, it's that my intent and the will to succeed were the real game changers. These two factors shaped the outcome of every session. Willpower and intent drive success in anything. If you commit to something with enough determination, you will find a way to make it work. But in my journey with my dog, there was something even more crucial. It wasn't just about effort or persistency. The defining factor was synergy, that deep, unspoken connection I built with my dog. This isn't just a mindset, it's an emotional state that makes dog training different from any other goal in life. It's not like learning a skill or working toward a personal achievement, because here you're working with another living being. And when that connection is there, training starts feeling like a shared language, something that flows naturally between you and your dog. That's what truly set everything in motion for me. And this becomes even more obvious when you get into complex activities like obedience, protection, or other sports, rather than hunting. If you do these things the right way, you feel a deep, primal connection with your dog, one that influences both of you on a level beyond just training. And that connection translates into results. I felt this even when I had no idea what I was doing. Somehow it gave me the instinct to move the right way, to reinforce at the right moments, and to correct when necessary. And those instincts, whether I realized it at the time or not, are what truly made the difference. For this reason, if you're just getting started with training, I strongly recommend that before you even try to fix any behavioral issues, whether it's leash pulling, reactivity, or anything else, you first engage in some kind of structured activity with your dog. It doesn't have to be anything advanced. It could be as simple as homemade agility courses, nose work, or even canicross. The specific activity doesn't matter. What matters is that your dog enjoys it. Once you've picked something to try, I want you to approach it naturally. Don't overthink it. Just focus on making it clear to your dog what you want from him. Reinforce good behaviors and keep your dog's enthusiasm high. That's all. The goal here isn't perfection. It's to start understanding how to communicate with your dog effectively and to recognize how he gives you feedback in return. At this stage, some owners will naturally achieve more than others, depending on their instincts, their dog's motivation, and also their dog's intelligence. But none of that really matters right now. The only thing that does matter is that your dog enjoyed the experience, and that you started to bridge that communication gap. Even if your dog doesn't fully comply, but you can feel that he's beginning to understand your intent, you're already on the right path. So now that you have given it a try, applying the right mindset and searching for that deep primal connection, whether you have fully found it yet or not, it's time to refine your technique and bring more structure to your training. Of course, breaking down every single technique in this video would be impossible, as that would take us a lot of time. But if you're serious about deepening your understanding of real-life dog training and ownership, you can join our community where you will find a complete library of online courses designed to help you navigate every aspect of training. You can find the link in bio or in description. So for now, let's take a broader look at the core techniques that shape effective dog training and the fundamental principles behind them. Because once you're able to understand this, everything else starts to fall into place. So let's get into it. The first key realization I had in dog training wasn't about commands, rewards, or corrections. It was about movement. I had no idea at the time, but movement influences everything in training. From how a dog reacts to another dog, to how he picks up on the smallest physical cues in obedience. I remember the moment it clicked for me. I was just reaching into my pocket, not thinking about training at all, and suddenly my dog adjusted herself into the heel position. I didn't call her, I didn't signal her, I just moved. And that's when it hit me. She had learned just through repetition that certain body movements meant something. Without realizing it, I had been teaching her through movement alone. From that point on, I started paying closer attention to how my actions shaped her responses. And the more I experimented, the more I realized that I could eventually run entire obedience routines without saying a single word. It wasn't about commands, it was about body language, intent, and the way movement itself guided her behavior. This is a game changer that proves just how incredibly skilled dogs are at reading our movements and adjusting accordingly. We barely notice it, but they're consistently tuned into our body language, responding to every shift, every gesture, every subtle cue we give, whether we mean it or not. And in dog training, we take full advantage of this natural ability through something called luring. Luring is the art of using your own movement to shape your dog's position. A classic example is teaching a dog to sit or lay down by guiding him with food, moving your hand in a way that naturally leads him into the desired position, then rewarding him the moment he gets it right. But luring doesn't stop here. It's the foundation for so much more, from teaching place commands to refining focused heeling and even fine-tuning the smallest details in high-level obedience. Luring is one of the most powerful tools to master in training. Now, another crucial pillar of training, one that I only truly understood later in my journey, is the ability to manipulate a dog's motivation to create engagement. Back then, I had no clue how important this was, but looking back, it's one of the most powerful skills a trainer can develop. Engagement is everything. It's the key to solving a lot of behavioral issues, but it's also the foundation for teaching new behaviors, refining skills, and unlocking a dog's full potential. And the way we create engagement isn't by forcing attention. It's by making the dog want what we have to offer with intense desire. This comes down to knowing how to control and shape a dog's motivation, whether it's food, play, or whatever drives him the most in training. The real magic happens when we learn to manipulate motivation effectively, and that comes down to the control of 5 key factors: deprivation, reward quality, dynamics, session length, and outside management. Mastering this allows us to make training not just effective, but something the dog is actively eager to participate in. So these are just a couple of the more technical aspects of dog training that I only discovered later in my journey. Long after I had already started training without any formal knowledge. The truth is, dog training is a vast field, and there are countless other elements that someone serious about training their dog needs to understand and apply effectively. But if there's one thing that I hope this video has shown, it's that you don't need to know everything to get started. My journey with my dog is proof that if you have the right mental framework, so you have strong willpower, clear intent, and the ability to tap into that deep primal synergy with your dog, your instincts will take you further than you ever thought possible. Once that foundation is there, and you start building on it with real knowledge and refined techniques, the sky becomes the limit. So if you want to take your training even further, gain deeper insights, and truly unlock your dog's full potential, consider joining our community, where you will find all the knowledge that you need to fully train your dog. You can find the link to the community pinned down below in the comment section. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss future content. There's a lot more coming, and I would love to have you on this journey. See you in the next one.